What's up, fight fans? This is Kurt DeVille with Counterpunch Boxing News, and I got some more news concerning Andre S.O.G. Ward. Andre had a lot to say about the aftermath, of course, of Earl Spence fighting Mikey Garcia. You know, he first of all stated, like, there's no moral victories in boxing. Maybe in life, but not boxing. You know, I don't see why, he said, I don't see why everyone looks so surprised that this would be the outcome, you know. And he also stated, and he pointed out the fact that, like, yeah, they could have stopped it, but Mikey, being who he was, he wanted to go out on his shield. He wanted to finish the fight. You know what I mean? And, you know, he also spoke about Spence, that Spence was able to box him because, you know, Mikey Garcia was the smaller, more skillful guy, supposedly. And Spence was able to change his game plan up besides being that aggressor. You know, I would agree with that. He did show you something different. He did throw 1,000 punches. You know, so he was able to do a lot of things in the ring besides seek and destroy like he's known to do. Again, I did touched on this briefly. I don't know if that was deliberate from Earl Spence's camp, but it might have been. However, be counterpunching this to be fair. With Mikey Garcia, that's Mikey Garcia's problem because he's held accountable for the things that comes out of his mouth. Okay, this wasn't a case of him getting knocked down or knocked out or stopped. It's the case of him getting beat round after round after round. And how he promised everybody that he was so much better than Earl Spence at everything. You know, so when Earl Spence was mentioning, now that I think about it, he was saying, hey, I'll punish you. Punish you don't mean I'll stop you. You know, like Golovkin punished Curtis Stevens because Curtis Stevens was talking a lot of shit. And he said, and he admitted, I wanted to punish him. Punishing doesn't mean that I'm going to stop you. That means I'm going to keep hurting you again and again and again and again, continuously, to, you know, to punish you. Maybe Earl Spence could have forced the action. Maybe he just wanted to whoop him round after round after round. So that might have been the game plan. But again, that falls on Mikey Garcia because he made a lot of promises. You know, it almost came off boastful at times that he was so much more skilled than Earl Spence. He picked out Earl Spence. He called out Earl Spence. Earl Spence can't do this like me. Well, Earl Spence showed you that I can not only box, but I can beat you round after round after round. Okay? So moving on from what Andre Ward also said, he said something that made a lot of sense regarding Spence versus Crawford. Okay? And this is what I wanted to get to most importantly. He said, there's no need to build up. They're in the fourth quarter with the build-up stage. There's no reason to build that fight like Floyd Mayweather was saying, oh no, is that Spence Crawford fight ain't gonna happen right now. That needs to build. No, it doesn't. Quit listening to Uncle Al, okay? He's a smart businessman, but at the end of the day, you know, he's notorious for dragging out fights to the point that they just grow cold. You know what I'm saying? They grow cold. So guess what? Andre Ward is absolutely right. There's no sense to make a fight like that build. That fight should happen. Yeah, Spence don't want to go to ESPN, you know, and PBC and all this stuff like that, and Al Heyman and Bob Arum and all this confusion and conflicting promoters and all that. Look, I'm like Andre Ward. He said, get it done. It can get it done where these fighters have to take the initiative. And then I absolutely agree with him. If these fighters absolutely want him, Crawford has already done that with Bob Arum, okay? He's already done that with Bob Arum. It's up to Spence to want that fight. If he doesn't want that fight and he doesn't ask or push the issue to Floyd Mayweather or his daddy Al Heyman or whoever, that fight is not going to happen. They're going to do shit like put him in there with Manny Pacquiao to quote unquote do some more building on Earl Spence. Maybe he might need a better resume than he has now. You know what I mean? Mikey Garcia really, to me, doesn't count. Let's just be real. He's a smaller guy in a smaller weight class. That's not his division. I keep telling you guys. So no, he doesn't really get credit for that. I do agree on the game plan. I do agree that he wanted to punish him round after round. That might have been the game plan, but at the end of the day, it doesn't really count. That's just like, let me give you guys a perfect example. Remember Lomachenko, right? He was at 130, and Rigo came from 122 up to 130. What did Loma say after he beat Rigondeaux every round and made him quit? You remember what he said? Let me remind you. He said that, no, this is not a big victory for me because this isn't Rigo's weight division. That's what you call integrity of being a pound-for-pound fighter. Okay? Now, let's say Mikey would have won. That's a totally different story, but he did not. Okay? So, you know, he doesn't really get that big of a victory. He needs to worry about the fighters in his own weight class. He needs to, you got 4 champions like Andre Ward addressed. You know, you got Keith Thurman, Sean Porter, Terence Crawford, and Earl Spence. He needs to worry about unifying those belts. Okay? And Earl Spence, you know he wasn't rooting for the Crawford fight because after that confrontation that him and Crawford was talking toe-to-toe, and Crawford was telling him to his face, you're no boogeyman because I'm chasing you. What did he say? Oh, Al ain't looking for that fight. Al didn't mention your name. You don't supposed to mention his name. You're supposed to mention that to Uncle Al and demand that fight because you're a champion. You have your own promotional company. You supposed to root for that fight, want that fight, demand that fight. That's how you do it, Mr. Man Down Promotions. That's how it's done. And Andre Ward's absolutely right. Let's get it done. It's not about the networks. These guys have to come together to make this fight happen for the fans and for their legacy. You know, beating Mikey Garcia is not a great accomplishment. Beating Crawford is, okay? Not Mikey Garcia. So, be that as it may, Andre Ward, he's outspoken. He has his own humble opinion. And last night was no exception. So, you guys tell me what you think about Andre Ward's comments. Of course, this video. Please like, share, and subscribe. You guys been counterpunched. Peace.